Welcome to Coach's Roundtable. I'm Head Codi, and welcome our guest, Pittsburgh Post-Gazette sports writer and Steeler insider, Ray Fittipaldo. Ray, how fast this season is going? 6 games in already. And the first question I have for you, the Steelers are 4-2. When you give them that first look, are you seeing a playoff team?
Yeah, Ed, I'm seeing a playoff team, but I got to be honest with you. I don't know if the results are going to be any different if and when they get there. So what I mean is, yes, the defense is good again. Yes, they're probably good enough to get to 9 or 10 wins, but I don't know if they have the quarterback play or the offense to threaten a team like the Chiefs or the Texans or the Ravens in the playoffs. So that's kind of where I am right now. I think they got a formula that's going to get them regular season wins. I just don't know if the results will be any different in the postseason once they get there.
Well, let's talk about the quarterback situation since that's always the focal point. Now, look at Fields through his these 6 games. He has 1,071 yards passing, 5 TDs, 231 yards rushing, and 5 TDs. But there are no splash plays here with the passing game.
Right.
And my 2 concerns, to get your take on it. One, this offensive line is not a really good pass blocking line. And the receiving core, the dynamics just aren't there, and a lot of drops. It's not all Fields. There are a lot of drops there. Now, he did overthrow some receivers on Sunday against the Raiders. But Ray, how about is he better suited to operate behind this offensive line than, say, Russell Wilson?
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, listen, that's a great question. And I do wonder if Mike Tomlin would have gone to Russell Wilson sooner if that line wasn't so banged up. Listen, Ed, they've lost Troy Fautanu for the season. They've lost James Daniels for the season. As we sit here today on Tuesday morning before Mike Tomlin's news conference, we don't know what Zach Frazier's health is. Hopefully, that's just a low or a high ankle sprain, and he's not gone too long. But you do make a good point. Justin Fields and his scrambling ability is probably better suited, to escape the pocket and to get some positive plays. I just go back to Russell Wilson being a veteran, having a better feel for the NFL passing game. And I wonder if he does get the protection, does he make those receivers better? He's a more polished passer. He's more accurate. He's seen defenses. He can read defenses. And Justin Fields just isn't there yet. So no question, it's a dilemma for Mike Tomlin. There's a lot to sort through there, but I do feel we're kind of at a tipping point. Does he go to Russell Wilson or does he stick with Justin Fields?
Well, you bring up some valid points, and here's the other factor. You have Fields 26. Is he your future quarterback? Then you have Russell Wilson, who is 36. They're both 1-year deals. So where do you go from here? The Steelers put themselves in a dilemma in this situation with these 2 quarterbacks.
Yeah, I mean, to me, Ed, you're going to finish in the middle again. You're probably going to be somewhere between 15 and 25 in the draft order. You're not going to get a franchise quarterback when you're drafting middle like that. So they have to come to a determination by the end of the season whether they think Russell Wilson is going to be their guy, for the next 2 or 3 years, or if they're going to go with a guy like Justin Fields and try to work around his strengths, right? Maybe do what the Baltimore Ravens did and, evolve their offense around a running quarterback. So, to me, those are the options also. Listen, Lamar Jackson has developed as a passer. He's gotten better over the years, but there's a certain type of offense that you have to run to take advantage of their strengths like that. So that's kind of where they are right now. We're just in the second week of October here. There's a lot of season to go, so I think this still has a ways to play out before anything can be determined.
When you look at the passing game and we look at the receivers, Pickens has yet to catch a touchdown pass. Did the Steelers make a mistake in the draft? I know here's Monday morning quarterbacking. They drafted 2 offensive linemen in those first 5 rounds. I thought they would have gone heavily on wide receivers, especially after they got rid of Johnson.
Yeah, I mean, listen, this is a new regime, with Andy Weidel and Omar Khan, where they want to play a smash mouth brand of football. And I think the first thing that they had to address was the offensive line. And hopefully now they spent the resources on the offensive line. Once those guys get healthy going forward, I think they have the foundation for the way they want to play. And I think everything else plays off that, right? The quarterback, is going to be a better play action passer. The receivers are going to look better because there are more avenues for them to get open. So I understand that you trade away Deontay Johnson. The cupboard is a little bit bare there, but there's still time before the trade deadline, about another month or so. So I wouldn't put it past Omar Khan to maybe make a move here in the next 30 days or so.
So when you say they want to play smash mouth football, in the two previous games, Najee Harris, 27 carries for 63 yards, had his best game of the year against the Raiders with 106 yards. So this smash mouth really hasn't materialized. When I look at Matt Canada, Arthur Smith, vanilla to vanilla. So if you're going to use Fields, at some point, Ray, you got to open things up. You got to live or die with that.
Yeah, I mean, listen, they tried against the Cowboys. There were a lot of first down shots down the field, and Justin didn't connect on them. So that's, I go back to, if Russell Wilson connected on 2 or 3 of those, that's probably a different ball game. They get ahead of the Cowboys rather than being in a close game the entire time. And no doubt they have to get George Pickens going more. He's only on pace, I think, for about 60 yards per game. Pat Fryermuth is only on pace for about 30 yards per game. I mean, those are your top 2 pass catchers, and they're not producing in the way that is going to yield a lot of points for your offense. So there's a lot of issues right now, not the least of which is the lack of a number 2 receiver. But first and foremost, until Omar Khan does something to acquire another player, George Pickens and Pat Fryermuth have to become more productive, in my opinion.
When you look at the game against the Raiders, if you just look at the score on paper, 32-13, it looks like a blowout. But that really wasn't the case. It was a lot closer than that. And the usual Raider gaffes aided the Steelers. And the Steelers, to me, their 2 most valuable players, T.J. Watt and Chris Bosworth. I mean, Bosworth, he's getting, 3 field goals every game. Yeah. He's been the difference in their wins.
Undoubtedly. The defense and the kicking game, go back to that block punt that Jeremiah Moon had and how big that was in that football game. I don't have the exact numbers in front of me yet, but I think he's either 15 for 16 or 16 for 17 on the season. And the one field goal he missed was that 62-yarder right before halftime. I think it was against the Chargers. I mean, the guy is Mr. Automatic. I think he's the best place kicker in the NFL. So as long as they have Boswell on point, as long as that defense is on point. And I know it struggled a little bit against the Colts and the Cowboys, but as long as they have those 2 constants, they're going to be in position to win a lot of football games this season.
No question, T.J. Watt. He's their most valuable player. So, Ray, it's a brutal schedule, 17 games. That second half of the season, that schedule is just nasty.
Yeah.
Should they be resting, cutting back on some reps for TJ to have him ready for the long haul?
Yeah, I mean, in an ideal world, Ed, yes. But if you look at this pass game, the only time he came out was at the end there when they had like a 15, 17-point lead. They needed him to play all those snaps because Alex Highsmith is hurt. Nick Herbig, DeMarvin Leal are injured, and they're going with basically guys who were called up from the practice squad. So, yes, I'm with you. When Alex Highsmith comes back and Nick Herbig comes back, they got to get him down to playing around 75, 80% of the snaps rather than almost entire games the way he had to play on Sunday against the Raiders.
So when you talk about receivers, the Raiders have been said repeatedly, you want Devontae Adams, it's a second-round pick and no cash deal involved. Yeah. Do you make that move?
Listen, Omar Khan is going to have to determine, are they missing a number 2 receiver, or is it something with the quarterback and the play calling that's the bigger reason for the disconnect in this passing offense, Ed? And I don't think it's easy to figure out. I'm not going to sit here and just 100% tell you, yes, if they get Devontae Adams, they're a Super Bowl contender, and this offense goes from below average to above average. I'm not going to sit here and tell you that because I think Justin Fields has missed some throws. The offensive line, as we talked about, is injured and they're a little bit more leaky than we expected them to be. So that's a tough call. I probably wouldn't give up a second just because of his contract and how much money you're going to have to pay him down the road. But yeah, a number three, if the Raiders end up settling for a number three, I think I would make that move, and I think I would see if that could maybe jumpstart the offense here a little bit in the second half of the season.
Hey, Ray, great always to talk to you to get your reports on the Steelers. Get you back here towards the end of the season, hopefully talk about the playoffs.
Always good to join you. I appreciate it.
Thanks, Ray. I'll be right back with Alan George.
Sure, 5G home internet sounds great. But those plans are based on your cell phone coverage. That means if you have no signal inside your home, you have no Wi-Fi either. Plus, they can slow you down when too many people are online. It's all in the fine print. With Zoom from Armstrong, you get what you pay for. Speed, reliability, and coverage in every single room of your house. Compare other internet providers to Armstrong and see the difference an unmatched fiber network makes.
I'm back, joined to my right by the Swami George Abraham, to my left, the Tiger Albert Campman. Guys, we're headed into the 9th week of high school football. Getting ready for the playoffs. No more pretenders or just contenders now. Let's go to the top rushers last week. Codi Mullen of Knock, 240 yards rushing and a TD. Elijah Palmer McCain for the undefeated Elwood City Wolverines, 145. Chase Mazanik, Seneca Valley, 134. They're making a bid for a playoff berth. Robbie Janis, Riverside, 126. Amos Glenn of Freeport, 125. He's approaching 1,000 yards on a season. Evan McInerney of Hampton, 125. And Drew Ross of Freeport, 109 yards and 3 touchdowns. And the top passers, Codi Mullen of Knock, 245 yards, 3 TDs. So he put up in that game 485 yards and 4 touchdowns. Last time I remember performance around here like that was Terry Hanratty against Farrell in a 49-27 win. He accounted for 5 or 6 touchdowns and 450 yards of offense.
Let's hope he turns out like Terry Hanratty.
Yeah, right. Brady Brinkley of North Allegheny, 197. Joe Flitsky of North Catholic, 197. He's approaching 2,000 yards passing on a season. He has close to 1,800. Porter Kelly of Hampton, 174. Andrew Lobig of Seneca Valley, 142. And Nate Walker of Mars, 115. Receiving, Vincent DeFelice of Knox, 6 for 146 yards. Gabe Hine of Mars, 8 for 111 yards. And Riker Kennedy of North Catholic, 6 for 58. He's now caught 68 for 864 yards. Jack White of North Catholic, 2 for 74. WPIAL Golf, the North Catholic boys won the Class 2A team championship. Sophomore Chris Faber, he led the way with a 79 score and honors. Slippery Rock High School track coach Tom Melling, who led the Rockets to the PIAA Class 2A Track and Field Championship, was named PIAA Track and Field Coach of the Year. High school football, our power rankings. 6A, it's Central Catholic 6-2, followed by North Allegheny 7-1. In 5A, man, there's so many good teams here. Pine Richland remains undefeated. Upper St. Clair, second undefeated, followed by Peters Township, Bethel Park, and getting hot at this time of the year, Woodland Hills in there at 6-2. In 4A, it's Montour undefeated, TJ undefeated, followed by Eloquip of 5-1, McKeesport and number 4, Bell Vernon number 5, and in 3A, Imani Christian, Avonworth, Beaver, Freeport, and Southmoreland. In 2A, Elwood City remains on top, followed by Seton LaSalle, South Park, South Allegheny, and Still Valley. And this 2A is really up for grabs.
Up for grabs.
And in 1A, it's Westinghouse, Fort Cherry, Clareton, Jeff Morgan, those 3 all undefeated, followed by Neshannock and Monessen. Let's go to our stories of the week. The NFL, the Steelers 32, the Raiders 13. If you just look at the score on paper, it looks like a blowout, but it wasn't necessarily that way on the field. And the difference for the Steelers, a great defensive play led by T.J. Watt, 5 tackles, 2 forced fumbles, and Chris Bosworth with 4 field goals. And I know we're going to talk about that Steelers quarterback situation. You know, here's Fields. You tell me how you feel. Through 6 games, he has 1,070 yards passing, for 5 TDs, just 1 pick. Got a break there on Sunday with the pick that was nullified by roughing the quarterback penalty. He's rushed for 231 yards for 5 touchdowns, and a lot of it comes. That offensive line's not very good, guys. He makes a lot of plays on scrambles. I don't know that Russell Wilson survives behind that offensive line. What's your take?
Well, I'm a big Fields guy, so
I like him too.
I never even think about what they say. I know who the better quarterback is, and I hope it doesn't come down to Wilson getting in there because they'll find out it'll be a lot of sacks. There's gonna be
that's what I'm saying. He operates better behind that line than what
he
Wilson
doesn't turn the ball over. I keep hearing
one interception.
When are they going? When are they doing? What is he doing wrong? Are they 4-2?
Yeah,
and he doesn't turn the ball over.
Well, here's my question, Ray Fittipaldo. What do you guys think? Are you building for the future with a 26-year-old quarterback, or do you're going to bench him, ruin his confidence, and you're going to go with a 36-year-old quarterback? Both of them are under 1-year contracts. What are you doing? What's your philosophy? Where do you want to go?
I don't think there's any thought. If I was having to be in the office with Mike Tomlin, they're playing Fields. Russell Wilson's always been a good guy off the field, but in the club, in the locker room, always caused problems. And so he's trying. Tomlin always says the right thing to make sure that let's not have too many problems here. We already have Pickens. We don't want any more problems.
How about the other day? They're up 3 touchdowns and they're forcing that ball to Pickens in the last minute. And it was sad.
Yes.
It was sad.
There are two things about the passing game. All right. One, did he miss some receivers on Sunday? Absolutely overthrew. But did they also drop some more balls? They have. And here's my point. When they went to the draft, they went heavy on 2 offensive linemen first 5 rounds. I think that was a mistake. Frazier was a good pick. Then you should have focused on wide receivers, knowing that you were getting rid of Johnson.
It's really tough though. There was not a lot of great wide receivers coming out except the top 4. The top 4 were great. Yeah. You could take a chance on.
They weren't picking yet.
But why would you take? I don't agree with that. I don't think you take a chance just because let's take a wide receiver because we need one.
You know what else?
Well, I think they could have looked better, and instead of taking another offensive lineman, there had to be at least another wide receiver out there that they could have selected or think about making a trade.
Well, don't you think they're coming around to sign? The idea with Fields is we can sign him $25-30 million, which is way cheaper than these other guys are getting, and we'll be set. I don't think they're going to bench him.
I don't think so. I think it's a mistake.
If they bench him
day one.
I will be upset. Remember, I'm not a fanatic. I'm a fan. There's a difference. In the old days, I'd have been all over this when I was a fanatic. I just don't understand why they're even talking about it. He's a good quarterback. I don't remember. It isn't like they're loaded on offense.
And he if they do that, he's going to sit there and say, "Why should I sign with them next year?"
You won't sign with them.
You know what? Don't you think part of that is to placate Wilson?
Oh, yeah. Oh, totally.
Absolutely.
He's not quite ready when he's not this.
Totally.
I think they're protecting his ego because knowing his past, he'll cause some problems. He won't cause them. His people will cause them.
He's not coming back next year.
No.
And hats off to Jeremiah Moon. Huge block on that field goal.
It's nice coaching. They set it up.
And we're right down the middle.
Usual, the Raider gaffes, 3 turnovers. The red zone fumble was a killer. And then the interception of Fields in the red zone, but Max Crosby with the late hit on Fields nullified that. What is it? Is there more in that team in the NFL in the last 25 years than the Raiders?
Yeah, the Jets have it once in 69.
And the Jets and the Cardinals.
69 for the. Now think about it.
Yeah.
The Cardinals were in the Super Bowl.
Yeah.
69. I said that last somebody, they said, no way. I said, I'm telling you.
Yeah, and
the Browns.
We're gonna get to that. But the Raiders, the big turn to me, the turning point in the game. It's 22-7, and they've been moving the football. They score a touchdown penalty at the end of the third quarter. Instead of 22-14, it stays 22-7, and there was a 14-point change because the Steelers went up 29-7.
Yeah, the thing I remember is we had this argument, Eddie, and I was right on this one because you wanted to trade Watt. There is no chance. Their team's 0-6.
Well, he's
the most dominant player on defense in the NFL.
He didn't have a sack, and he dominated the game.
He had 5 tackles.
Without him, they're 0.
But
they are 0.
I agree with you. But here is my thinking on that. They haven't won a playoff game. Their offense has been dismal for years. And so since you bring that up, you went from Matt Canada, vanilla, to Arthur Smith.
Still vanilla.
I still vanilla. There's no chocolate strawberry.
No.
Now, what do you make about this? Who does Narduzzi praise last week for one of his best offenses at Pitt? Matt Canada. So I mean,
That's funny.
Isn't that funny? And,
Hey, I do see Crosby shove the coach. That really bothered me.
yeah.
That's Bush League.
And they'll say that's who he is. No, that's who he is.
No, it's not. Yeah.
So-
well, he's intense. So
Yeah.
does everybody
Now,
else.
I mean, you talk about coach talk. So Tomlin smooths over this stuff with Pickens,
Oh.
who
You can't
always
smooth that over. There's no chance.
Yeah,
We all
what
know
he
who he
writes
is.
on his black.
Yeah,
We
he
all
got-
know who he
eye
is.
black.
He's
He
a
got
punk.
fined. He got
It's
fined
True.
for that.
It's just there is no. But I told George, every NFL team has one. We follow the Steelers.
Yeah.
So Lamb causes problems, and when
the
Chase
kid
don't
from
get the ball
Buffalo
in
went to
Cincinnati,
Houston.
he
Yeah.
causes. The wide receivers are
Diggs.
divas.
Yeah,
and,
they
and,
are.
divas.
I'm going to come to defense, and Najee Harris has been criticized.
Oh.
Previous 2 games, 63 yards and 27 carries. He couldn't get to the line of scrimmage. He got beat up. So they had 183 yards. They had a better game. Maybe part of it was Raiders' porous defense. He rushed for 106. I don't know what people want him to. He gets hit 3 or 4 times before he even gets to the line of scrimmage sometimes.
I thought that was the best game he's had in a while.
Yeah.
Well,
Best-
once again, he ran without getting hit in the backfield. You look better.
Hey, I'm his
Right,
hugest
yeah.
fan. You know that. I think he's woefully underrated. Look at his yards after contact sometimes.
Yeah.
And like you guys said, when he gets the ball, a lot of times he isn't even getting started.
Well, here's my 2 concerns. They're 4-2. Going through this next part of the season, the healthy offensive line, they don't know the extent of the injury to Zach Frazier, and the pass protection is subpar. And the other things, there are just no splash plays on offense, especially with the passing game. They just aren't there.
There's a decent team. And so
Yeah.
anybody watch them,
Right.
They're not good, they're not bad, but their defense allows them to be a playoff team. Now they will not win in the playoffs because their offense is so bad.
Yeah.
But a lot of teams would take the
They're going
Steelers.
to be 10-7.
Yeah, a
They're
lot
gonna
of
be
teams want
10-7.
to.
Don't you see it right now?
I know
Right.
us spoiled fans here, and I'm not one of them anymore.
I'm not
I
spoiled.
can't believe they can't win the playoffs.
Now,
Root for the Browns. Root for the
Yeah.
Arizona. Steelers are 4-2, and they still think they stink. I mean,
Yeah.
we're spoiled. Just like Penguin fans are spoiled. Matt's a big Penguin fan. Pittsburgh fans expect Super Bowls. Expect.
I don't
You
know
know,
where they're
they're not a Super Bowl
haven't had
team.
a Super Bowl team in a long time. Anyhow,
Wait a minute. How many they got? Two,
No,
two in the 2000s. We just got done saying the Jets are not even in the playoffs.
Right.
In 60. We're spoiled.
well, no one wants to look at those other teams. Hey, by the way, Tom Brady now is 10% owner of the Raiders. Big deal, no big deal.
What does that mean, by the way, with the NFL, George? You have any idea what they're saying?
Yeah, because he gets into meetings and stuff. In other words, the 2 days before he meets with the other
They allow-
team's
They
quarterbacks.
allow them
Yeah,
to
That's
sit down
what.
still.
That's
I'm
what.
wondering.
Yeah, that's what the problem.
My
is.
I wouldn't allow.
Mike, can he play?
I wouldn't.
Yeah.
The Raiders want
Yeah.
that, don't they?
Yeah.
Yeah, but it's the truth. I wouldn't let him announce. See, if
I would agree
he's
with
on the
that.
team,
I would agree
well,
with
he
that.
can't be. He
So
can't be.
you
real
can't
estate.
be in these meetings,
No.
or you
Yes.
can't own either
Yeah.
or. You can
Right.
do either
Yes.
or.
Uh-huh.
Hey, around the league, Baltimore 30, Washington 23. The Ravens put up 484 yards of offense. Jackson 323 passing. Is he a better passer now this year than he's been recent years? It looks like it.
Regular season, he always has been.
Yeah.
I want to see him do it in the playoffs.
Yeah, he
but,
has
but there's
to.
a good team I want to talk about. It's
Oh.
Baltimore. They're really good offensively.
Yeah.
Oh,
They stink defensively.
No,
I don't know
they're
what's
not good.
happening
No.
on defense.
No.
And Henry Derrick just on the
Oh,
roll,
he's a
130.
man. Oh,
He's a monster.
No.
Yes.
So, guys, just looking at it, the NFL's best teams at KC, Baltimore, Minnesota, Houston, or Detroit.
Two teams I like are Baltimore and Detroit, so I'll say that. But losing Hutchinson really is a big
That's a
loss.
shame.
Yeah.
Fractured
Big
his
loss.
tibia. Hey, next Monday, you'll see Tampa Bay at the Ravens, and Tampa Bay beat the Saints 51-27. This could be a 48-42 game
it
possibly.
could. Last guy with the ball.
Hey, Cincy 17, the Giants 7, Joe Burrow, and suddenly a staunch defense defeat the Giants. The Bengals 2-4. Man, things are going to get really interesting here in this division play come
It's
November.
been like that forever. That's one thing. Their
Yeah.
division, you never kind
They're
of
running the clock out, and the guy went 70 yards.
Yes.
Hey, how about
Second and 2.
the Cleveland Groundhogs? I call them that because every game is the same. The Eagles 20, the Browns 16. The Browns not 1-5 for the 90th time in a row, game after game. Here's Coach Kevin Stefanski. Deshaun Watson is our quarterback. I think he could fall in a sinkhole, and Stefanski will holler down, "Don't worry about it.
We'll
You're
get
still
you
our
out.
quarterback.
Yeah.
We'll get you out."
Watson is Pittsburgh's Pickens. Like every Cleveland fan knows.
Yeah.
That listen, I don't care how much money you paid him, he shouldn't be the quarterback.
Yeah.
But they're playing him.
Do you see who did a good job Sunday for the Colts? Joe Flacco.
He always does, doesn't he?
You see him make the throws on the run.
Hey, listen, I got to tell you, I was looking at that game early, and I liked the other side. Although Will Levis is a turnover machine,
Yeah.
and then I read that Flacco was playing. It made me sick.
Yeah.
I was counting on Richardson.
Right. Hey, the game to watch this week is the Bengals and the Browns. The Bengals by 4.5. I only say that because I think the Bengals can take the Browns and shove them down the drain with the win.
Eddie, though, that's one of those
This
Pittsburgh Baltimore games.
Yeah.
It'll be
On that league.
Yeah.
No, that league, every game is like that.
Hey, the Browns over under was 9. It's 4.5.
Oh,
That's how bad they are.
Yeah,
Watson.
I'm telling you, that team is
And
demoralized.
I haven't seen Garrett do anything, for being a big name.
Yeah.
Like Watt and Hutchinson, they come.
They didn't score an
Garrett-
offensive
Garrett-
touchdown.
He
in
blocked
that
the
game.
field goal Sunday.
blocked
They
the
ran
field-
back.
That's the only
That's what
touchdown.
he did. But I'm
That's the
talking
only
about
touchdown, man.
rushing a pet quarterback.
Yeah. All right, college football, number 20, Pitt 17, California 15. Man, the Golden Bears, but for a 72-yard touchdown run by Desmond Reed, they shut down Pitt's offense, held Pitt to 277 yards. They threw every defense at Pitt that you've seen in football since Rutgers played Princeton in 1869. And Holstein and the offensive coordinator, Bell, they were confused.
Well, it's good to get a win when you're confused, though. That there's nothing better than winning a game. And so now they go to the films, and learn from the films. Pitt's finding ways to win, which is tremendous.
Well, here's one of your pet peeves, you guys. I'm watching the game. Cal drives right down the field. They score 6-0. They're going for 2. First time. Why? Did it come back to haunt them? What do you call it? Chasing points?
Yes.
Instead of them tying the game
of
17-17 with an extra point, they have to go for 2. They don't get it. They lose 17-15.
Yeah, chasing points is one of the worst things you can do in football.
Hey, Pitt has a tough one coming up with Syracuse. Syracuse 5-1. That Pitt gets an off week this Saturday. They play them on the 24th. Hey, and salute to Ben Sauls for that 58-yard field goal
How about that?
he booted. Hey, Penn State comes from behind. They win. They're now number 3 in the country. West Virginia took a pounding from
That doesn't happen at home too often.
number 9
No.
Iowa State.
They're
Doesn't
really
get
good.
any better now. They take on number 17 Kansas State. And by the way, I'm going to mention Tyler Warren, Penn State tight end. He caught 17
Think about
passes
that.
for 222 yards. Hey, Slippery Rock rolls over Gannon, 35-17. Grove City shut down CMU.
That was a
held
big
them to
win. Big
minus
win.
9 yards rushing. Grove City's defense only gives up 9 points a game. And how about the Duquesne Dukes? After opening with losses to Toledo and Boston College, they won 4 in a row.
Yes.
That's it for us. Thanks for joining us. We'll see you next week.
What you doing?
I'm gonna fix that toilet.
A sledgehammer.
Hey, you never know.
Maybe we should call a plumber.
No, I got this.
At Armstrong Comfort Solutions, our professional plumbers and service techs are standing by to help with all your plumbing and HVAC needs.
Everything okay down there?
Maybe I should call Armstrong Comfort Solutions.
Armstrong Comfort Solutions, where comfort is our middle name.